Hi everyone! Since we're starting our new unit on graphing, we wanted to start by reviewing some vocabulary terms, just so we're all using the same words in the same way. Again, I'm sure you are familiar with many of these words already, but we just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Now, when we're working with graphing, we're going to be working with the coordinate plane. So I'm just going to add that here. This whole grid is what we call the coordinate plane, and we're going to be talking about specific parts of the coordinate plane. So for the x-axis, that's going to be the horizontal axis in our coordinate plane. And so I'm going to color that kind of green here. It's probably hard to see. And I'm going to label this x. Now, the y-axis, on the other hand, is our vertical axis. And that's right here. And typically when we're labeling our coordinate plane, we'll label this for y for the y-axis. Now, the quadrants are the four parts of the coordinate plane. So when we put our axes here, you can see we divide that coordinate plane into four parts, or four sections. Right, and that makes sense. We know that the prefix quad there means four. So we have four sections in the coordinate plane, and those have very specific numbers. So starting up here in the top right, this is quadrant 1. And then we go counterclockwise to number these. So we have quadrant 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then our last kind of important term here is the origin, right? This is where the x and y axis intersect or cross. And so that's the point right here. That's what we call the origin. Now, when we're talking about graphing points, we're going to be using these things that we call ordered pairs. And our ordered pairs consist of two parts. First, we have what we call the x-coordinate. And the x-coordinate tells us how far right or left to move. Now, it's really important to know here that if our x-coordinate is positive, then we move right. And if our x-coordinate is negative, we move left. So the first thing we do is move either right or left, depending on the coordinate there. And then we have our y-coordinate. So I'm going to underline this here and write it down here in blue. And the y-coordinate now tells us how far up or down. And just like with the x-coordinate, the sign of that coordinate matters. So if the y-coordinate is positive, we move up. And if it's negative, we move down. Now, the last thing that's going to be really important here before we actually jump in and plot an ordered pair or graph a point, we need to know that when we're plotting points, we always, hopefully you can see that, we always start at the origin. That's always our starting point for plotting points. So let's see how it would look for this point. We know that our x-coordinate is -2. So that means that starting at the origin, we're going to move 2 to the left. So I'm going to make here 2 to the left. And then since our y-coordinate is positive, that means we're going to move 4 up. So let's see how this would work. Starting from the origin, I'm going to move 2 to the left, and then I'm going to count up 4, and that would be the location of that point with the ordered pair -2, 4. All right, let's go ahead and flip the page. So here's what some of these problems might look like. And again, I have no doubt this is review. So the first part asks us to write the ordered pair that corresponds to the points A, B, C, and D. Remember, with the ordered pair, it always consists of an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. So for point A, first thing I have to decide, since that x come first, is how far right or left. I can see that my point is off to the right, so I might know my x-coordinate is going to be positive. So I move 1, 2, 3 spaces to the right. And from there, I go 2 down, which means my y-coordinate is a -2. For point B, now I see that my point is to the left of the origin. So I actually am moving 2 spaces to the left, which means I have an x-coordinate of -2. From there, I go up 1, so my y-coordinate is still a positive value. Now, point C is a little tricky. From the origin, I actually don't move right or left. That gives me an x-coordinate of 0. I don't want to move right or left. All I do is move up 2, so I have a y-coordinate of +2. Then for point D, again from the origin, I know I'm to the left, so my x-coordinate is negative. I move 3 to the left, and from there I go up 4, and those are my ordered pairs. Now the other part of this, maybe I'll zoom in here, or not. Oh, there we go, that was a little too much. Okay, well this isn't cooperating, so we'll just leave it as it is. So this next question asks me to graph the points and then name the quadrant in which they're located. So we're just doing the opposite here. We're given an ordered pair and we have to graph it. So my first one says -4, 4. So when I see a -4, I know that means left 4. And then I'm going to go up 4 spaces. So from the origin, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's my point, and I'm going to be sure to label my point. Since it was given a label A, I'm going to put that on the coordinate plane as well. Now my quadrant, I know it starts with 1 and then 2, so I'm going to list quadrant 2 here. For B, since x-coordinate is positive, I'm moving right 3. My y-coordinate is negative, so from there I'm down 2. There's my point, and I label it with the letter B. Now here, I know I'm in quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so last one, 0, -4. So that means from the origin, excuse me, I don't move right or left. I kind of stop right where I am and then go down 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's point C. Now, this one's tricky because It's not really in quadrant 3 or quadrant 4, but what I do know is that it's on our y-axis here, so I'm not going to list a quadrant, I'm actually going to name the y-axis. Okay, so that's some of the basics of graphing that we need to know for right now. So once you've kind of completed all these notes, make sure you have those complete so I can check them tomorrow or on Thursday, I guess. Make sure you complete the practice on page 3, and when we're back in class together, then we'll move on with an activity from there. Thanks and have a great day.